Hello, everyone. Welcome to your workshop for today. My name is Jamie McLaren, and we are here for a workshop about cardio and strength, the keys to success. So whether you are doing the DIY program this month or you're just tuning in, welcome. You all can learn from what I'm going to talk about today. Excuse me. So we are in week 3 of the DIY challenge, and I want to teach you the why behind the program and the elements that are in it. So this year we have hosted a cardio challenge with More Than Miles. We have hosted strength challenges such as the Ironman. A lot of members and participants saw some really great results from either one of those. But this program, the DIY program, is really about combining those two challenges and teaching you to program your workouts yourself or map out your weeks yourself. So as you know, the DIY program, it promotes and encourages 3 days of cardio, 2 days of strength training with an active recovery day thrown in there, and then 1 day of rest or a day off. But do you know why we are recommending, 3 days cardio, 2 days strength, 1 day active recovery? For example, why not 5 days of cardio, 1 day of strength, and 1 day of stretching? Or why not 6 days of strength and 1 day of cardio with no rest ever? Well, let's dive into that and unpack the science behind it. So cardio is an aerobic exercise that stimulates and strengthens the heart and lungs. ACSM, which is the American College of Sports Medicine, that is who we follow protocols through. It is a nationally accredited organization. They recommend all healthy adults ages 18 to 65 participate in moderate intense physical activity for a minimum of 30 minutes, 5 days a week, or vigorous intense aerobic activity for a minimum of 20 minutes, 3 days a week. So some examples of what those are is your moderate intensity is going to be walking, jogging, but while being able to kind of sing a song or talk to a friend you may be jogging with. It is leisure bike riding, leisurely rollerblading, or leisurely rowing, just as some examples. Examples of your vigorous intensity activities that you would do for the 20 minutes, 3 days, would be HIIT classes, running at an RPE, rate of perceived exertion. You're running and you're going, oh my gosh, this is probably a 7 or 8 out of 10 in hardness. Sprint intervals at a 7 or 8 out of 10 RPE, challenging hardness. It would be biking intervals, mountain biking, and even CrossFit. So why this many minutes? Why 150 minutes a week? Why 3 days of your moderate intensity cardio or your 20 minutes of vigorous? Let's talk about that. So data from observations of experimental studies from the CDC and NIH show health-related outcomes by completing this many minutes of activity. So for example, the study showed that exercise above baseline but below 150 minutes showed some health benefits. It also showed that 150 minutes to 300 minutes a week showed substantial health benefits. So to reach this goal, 3 days of cardio, 30 minutes, 2 days of your strength training, that kind of hits you at about 150 minutes. And then lastly, the study also showed that anything over 300 minutes of exercise or more showed great health benefits. So just something to keep in mind. But what does cardio do? Cardio allows your muscles to oxidize and break down fat. It does so by burning calories and expending the byproducts via your breath. Cardio also allows you to be in a calorie deficit, meaning you are burning more calories than you take in typically if you are doing cardio often. Cardio strengthens your heart, which helps the heart move blood through your body more efficiently. So the more cardio you do, the more you're going to work your heart. So then at rest, which we're resting more often than we're exercising, your heart is just beating away, getting the blood pumping through your body nice and easy like it's no big deal. Cardio can lower your blood pressure, help keep your arteries clear by raising your HDL, your good cholesterol, and lowering your LDL cholesterol, your bad cholesterol. Cardio helps regulate your blood sugar by regulating the insulin levels and lowering your blood sugar while keeping your weight in check. How? Your muscles are going to use the blood sugar in your body for energy and for fuel and use it up rather than it just be circulating through your body, not having a way out. Cardio burns calories, obviously. It can boost your mood through endorphins, which are feel-good chemicals released by your brain. I always find it so interesting that what we physically do with our bodies, our mind, our brain, and our hormones kind of circulate and respond to that. And I think that's just a really neat thing to keep in mind is, you know, what we do physically, yes, we know we should work out. It's good for you, but it has so many just different effects that your body does, and we don't even realize it. Cardio can help you sleep better. It can reduce arthritis, pain, and stiffness, and it can strengthen the immune system. I know that is something we are all trying to do right now, keep that immune system nice and strong. It does so by increasing certain antibodies in the blood called immunoglobulins. These are ultimately strengthening your immune system. A study at Penn State examined women who did 30 minutes of treadmill. So one group of women did 30 minutes of exercise on the treadmill. One group did a burst of activity for just over 30 seconds. And then one group did 0 exercise. They did they took their blood randomly over the days and weeks after the sessions, and it showed that ultimately the sedentary group of women showed no improvement in immune function, and their cortisol levels were much higher. So the 30 minutes on the treadmill people showed improved immune function, less stress levels. The group, this is really cool to me, the group that just did 30 minutes burst of activity, say you did squats for 30 seconds. Say you did squats for 30 seconds, couple times throughout the day or once a day, you know, consecutively, that even has shown to improve your immune function and decrease your stress levels. While this group over here that did nothing, they just were sedentary, had their blood taken, their immune function was not as strong as the people that were active in some form or fashion, and their stress levels were up. I thought that was super interesting. Lastly, cardio has shown to slow cognitive decline. So MRIs done of those 55 and older, the most fit people showed fewer reductions in their frontal, parietal, and temporal areas of their brain. Their brain tissues were the most robust. So those that were the most active, 55-year-olds, their brain tissue was the most robust. Super interesting. Examples of cardio in general, and you can make this vigorous or it can be your leisure 30-minute leisure cardio. Walking, jogging, running, biking, rollerblading, rowing, any type of sports where it's a continuous movement, you know, you're sweating, you're breathing pretty hard, such as basketball, soccer, tennis, hockey. There's more, of course. All right, so that is your cardio section. That's why it's important. That is what cardio does. That is why it recommends 150 minutes of exercise. Let's move on. Strength. Strength training is the performance of muscles being worked against an opposing force. That force can be weights, it can be your body weight, it can be gravity, anything. Suspension training. Once again, the ACSM, American College of Sports Medicine, recommends 2 days or more a week of strengthening all your major muscle groups. So some examples of strength training, body weight workouts. A lot of the workouts that we teach in our classes do not involve anything but yourself. That is considered strength training. Lifting weights, that is obviously strength training. Suspension training, if you've ever seen the TRX, hung up in the gyms or on a commercial, that is strength training. You're going against gravity to pull yourself up or to, exercise. Medicine balls or sandbags, weight machines, and resistance bands are great strength training as well. So the major muscle groups that you should be working are your chest, your back, your shoulders, arms, meaning your biceps and triceps, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your calves. So there's many, many muscles in those different groups that I just mentioned, but if you're working most of those areas often, then you're getting a well-rounded routine. I forgot core and abs. It is on here. Your core and your abs are major muscle groups as well. There are many muscles involved in all of those groups. So why strength training? Why is it important? Why does it matter? Muscles grow when you lift weights due to small tears in the fibers. The tears of the muscle fibers are then repaired and can grow in quantity of muscle fibers and in quality or size of the muscle fibers. The muscle repairs itself while you are at rest and with the food that you eat. So making sure, and we'll get to that in a minute, so making sure that you eat enough protein is going to help you build muscle faster. The weight that is lifted needs to be heavier than what your body is already accustomed to. You need to overload the muscles slowly and progressively with heavier weights, which over time causes you to gain strength. That being said, I hate to break it to you, but that being said, the 3-pound pair of dumbbells that many people have at their house is probably too light for you. It's a great starting point, but you're going to get very strong and a lot stronger than that 3 pounds in each hand very fast. For women, I always say this in every class that you probably take with me or have taken with me. 3 pounds is way too light. Your purse is heavier than that. Don't be scared to get strong, to go heavy. You're a lot stronger than you think. So muscle mass, let's talk about what muscle does. Muscle mass reduces the risk of falls, improves blood balance, but it also improves blood sugar control. It improves your sleep and your mental health as well. So as you age, you lose muscle typically, sarcopenia, if you've ever heard of that. So keeping up with consistent strength training is a way to combat that. Strength training also can prevent osteoporosis by augmenting bone mineral density. So when you're lifting or exercising or strength training, the stress you're putting on the bone causes nudges the bone forming cells into action. The tugging and the pushing on the bone that occurs from, activity, strength training, some cardio even, is the result of stronger, denser bones. Muscle is a metabolically active part of your body. It physically uses the food that you put into your body and uses it as fuel and as energy to kind of keep it alive, if you will. This is might be an odd analogy, but I kind of like to think of, the muscles in your body as an active thing. So it needs fuel, it needs energy. And so the food you put in, it's going to eat up and use. If you don't have very much muscle mass, the food that you it gets used, obviously, your heart needs calories, everything does, but it's not going to be used as much as if you had more muscle mass. There's less of a need for it, if you will. So when we say metabolically active, fat is not a metabolically active tissue and does not use that food as fuel for the body. So when you put food into your body, and maybe you might have a little bit more fat than the average person, and that is not really going to need or use up the calories or the energy and the fuel that you put in, where the muscle would. So the more muscle you have, the more it's going to eat up of the food that you put in your body, so you're burning more calories at rest because those muscles are working in a way. So that is why we recommend 2 days of strength training during the program to hit the major muscle groups, to help you grow muscle, because you've got to be consistent with it. You can't do it once a week. Once a week is a great starting point, but the more, at least twice a week, is better. All right, let's talk about active recovery and stretching. So active recovery and stretching is the extending of a body part to full length in order to improve muscle elasticity. Static stretching, which is holding of a pose. Say you're going to stretch your hamstrings. I'm just going to hold this. You want to hold your stretches for 10 to 60 seconds, 60. I always say the longer the better. So if you're going to hold it for 10 seconds, not nearly the same benefit that you're going to hold for holding for 60 seconds. Relaxing into those poses causes your body to relax into the stretch, which helps you, regain that elasticity of the muscle over time. It is recommended to stretch after your workouts. Your muscles are the most warm, the most pliable after a workout at the end, think how hot you are after a workout, your muscles are warm too. So when you stretch them, they will respond to that stretch best. And hold it. I have said this probably a million times, so forgive me if you have heard me say this, but think about plastic in a microwave. It's nice and warm and pliable once you take it out, and if you hold a position, it'll kind of form to that. Your muscles are very similar, and so after the workout, you're warm, hold that position that you want to improve, and it will hold it after you're done stretching. You want to make sure you're stretching all the major muscle groups, your neck, your shoulders, chest, trunk, low back, hips, legs, and ankles. Why? Stretching keeps your muscles flexible, strong, and healthy to be able to maintain the body's proper range of motion at the joints. So we all have a natural range of motion at our joint, right? Everyone is a little different because we're all very unique in our bodies. So if we're given that natural range of motion, you want to sustain it because that's how your body naturally was meant to be, right? So we stretch in order to maintain our range of motion. Without stretching, the muscles can be shortened and tight. And then when called to use that muscle, they are weak and unable to extend fully, and that is what can put you at risk for injury or pain. Stretching keeps the muscles flexible, strong, and healthy. I said this, to maintain the proper range of motion at the joint. It also prevents injury, relieves tension, and keeps you in correct posture. So, like I said, our bodies are given a natural range of motion at our joints, every single one of us. We need to maintain that to prevent injury because it's your natural at-rest range of motion that was given to you. So stretching the right muscles will help you keep that. And lastly, let's talk about rest days. They matter. They are important. We encourage everyone to take rest days. We do it as well. We do not work out every day. We love working out. This is our job. And so sometimes, I know for me, it's hard to take a rest day some days. But it is so important for your body. Rest days can alleviate pain and soreness. Rest days is when your muscles grow and repair. The growth and repair of muscle equals a larger muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have, the more they are using the calories you put in your body, which means the more calories you burn at rest, which means you will decrease your body fat because your body is working harder at rest to keep the muscle up and keep them strong. Hopefully that makes sense. More muscle mass even means more strength for your everyday life and even for your workouts. So resting replenishes your glycogen and your muscles. Glycogen is the body's first source of energy for any activity. If we don't have the glycogen in our muscles, or we're not completely rested or recovered, the body will try and use protein for energy for whatever it may be that you're doing, which then takes away from the protein that is trying to rebuild, repair, and grow your muscles. So rest days are important for your body and your muscles to kind of store up that energy again and be ready to use the right source of fuel for your next workout. If you've ever worked out a ton or just, been super active because you're in a program or for whatever it may be, if you've ever felt like, an example is running. Say you worked out 3 days in a row and then you're about to go run. If your legs feel heavy or walking feels heavy, like, these weigh 1,000 pounds, that's kind of an example of your muscles haven't quite recovered. They haven't quite replenished what they needed to. Resting can also prevent injury. It allows the mind to rest as well, and so you can make time for other hobbies that are good for your mind and your spirit. Some hobbies could be reading, house projects, could be watching TV or sports, spending time with friends or family, or just truly resting, catching up, napping, hanging out of the house all day, laying on the couch. There is a time and place for that. It is not every day, but there is a time and place for that often. So that is kind of your why behind the DIY program, the do it yourself or the design the program, implement the program, yield your results. So that's the why behind the 3 days of cardio, the why behind the 2 days of strength, and the why behind the day off, active recovery. And remember, those active recovery, I think we suggested like your yoga classes in the active recovery that we offer. Active recovery can be anything. It can be walking your dog down the street. It can be playing with your dog outside or your kids. Active recovery can be a leisurely like paddle board session or kayak session. Trying to think of what else it could be. Just anything where you're moving still, but it's not strenuous. You're enjoying it. You're not pushing yourself. But they all have a time and place, and kind of programming something like this regularly: 3 days cardio, 2 days strength, 1 day active rest, recovery, stretch, 1 day off. That is going to be the most well-balanced program for you, for most people, and something you can maintain. We don't want these unrealistic expectations of 7 days a week, for 8 to 12 weeks straight of this program because there's no days off. Hashtag no days off. Hashtag crushing it kind of thing. We try and promote a lot of balance with what we do. Hopefully you've learned that by now if you've done a lot of our programs. If you are new, life is all about balance. It is not all working out. It is not all resting all the time. You've got to have a little bit of give and take for both. But following this guideline, these routines of cardio, strength, stretching, that is going to be the most bang for your buck in the long run, improve your longevity, and is just very doable for you for the most part. So hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you got something from it, learned something from it. Again, my name is Jamie McLaren, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.